everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. And today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic, which is as a professional. Today we live in a corporate world where it's actually a small world today, and we have to work across different cultures. So today we are going to learn about working across cultures, and honestly, thanks to the technological advancements, as truly it's a small world that we live in today, because that once was considered a fantasy place to visit at Disneyland, isn't it? Remember that ride at Disneyland? It's a small world. Today we are living this in reality. Diversity and inclusion in the corporate world has proved that unity in diversity is not just a phrase, but a real thing. However, to understand diversity, especially diversity of emotions and different cultures, is not an easy task. It is a constant process of exploring, discovering, and learning. But how do we do it? So let's learn and dive into the art of working across cultures today. Well, the content discussed in this video has been referred from a couple of research papers, but broadly from a research paper by Andy Molinsky. Now, Andy Molinsky is a professor of international management and organizational behavior at the Brandeis International Business School. He is the author of best-selling books like Global Dexterity, which was published by Harvard Business Review, and a book named The New Book Reach, a new strategy to help you step out of your comfort zone and rise to the challenge and build confidence, which was published by Penguin Books of Publishing. So let's get started. Now first, let's start with understanding the importance of expressions. To be precise, the emotional expressions. Now, one of the greatest assets that we have as natives of culture is our ability to quickly read another person's emotions. Over time, we learn how to understand whether our colleagues are truly interested in a project or just giving it lip service by noticing the expression on their faces. You see, it's a power of body language. We can tell when someone really likes something we have proposed by the way they react. And we can often detect motivation as well, whether someone is truly willing to put in the extra time and effort to make something happen just by seeing the fire in their eyes or the passion in their voice. But now the problem of course comes when we cross cultures and ventures into a completely different world of emotional expression. Emotions vary tremendously across cultures, both in terms of their expression and their meaning. Without a detailed understanding of these emotional landscapes, crossing cultures can become a communication minefield. Now let's understand this by considering few examples of diverse cultural expressions. Now take for example the expression of enthusiasm. In the United States, it's culturally acceptable, even admirable, to show enthusiasm in a business setting, assuming it's appropriate for the situation. When arguing for a point in a meeting, for example, it is quite appropriate to express your opinions passionately. It can help to convince those around you. Or when speaking with a potential employer at a networking event, it is often encouraged to express your interest quite enthusiastically. The employer may interpret how invested you are in a job based on your expressed eagerness. But in many other countries and cultures, however, enthusiasm means something quite different. For instance, in Japan, there are strict boundaries about when and where people are allowed to display emotions. During the regular workday, Japanese individuals are not typically emotionally expressive. Even if they feel excited about their work, they will rarely show it explicitly. This often changes outside of the workplace setting though, where Japanese people can show a great deal of emotion. For example, when drinking, having dinner with work colleagues, their professional networks as well, or singing karaoke. But in China, self-control and modesty are the coin of the realm, not one's ability to outwardly express emotion. In fact, expressing too much of outward enthusiasm, especially in front of a boss, could be seen as showing off, which is not typically condoned in Chinese culture. Now, given these differences and the importance of getting it right when communicating across cultures, what are thoughtful managers to do? How do we do it in professional terms? So, here are some tips to work across cultures professionally. The first tip is to treat emotions like another language. If you are traveling to or moving to France, you are bound to learn French, or at least some key phrases or salutations like salut, bonjour, comment ça va bien, je m'appelle Namrata Vyas, comment vous appelez-vous, enchanté, merci beaucoup, something like that. You are bound to learn some basic things about the language that you are shifting to or you are traveling to. So treat emotions in a similar way, in the same way. Try your best to learn the language of emotions in whatever culture you are working with. Now, observe whether people tend to express emotions readily or keep them to themselves. And if, as in the Japan example that we just discussed, there are differences in when and where people express freely their emotions. So understand that gap. And then diagnose any gaps between how you had expressed emotions in your culture and how people you will be interacting with or are interacting with express emotions in theirs. Now, in addition to learning the language of emotions, make sure you also learn how to respond constructively when you do encounter emotions different from your own. For example, if you are expecting a smile from your boss after suggesting a new idea but instead get a blank stare, don't necessarily assume she hates you or your idea. Instead, gather more information to fully understand her point of view. You might ask a follow-up question to get a better sense of her opinion, like ask if your proposal was clear or if she felt your idea addressed the concerns that she had. And also, keep in mind that cultural norms differ in terms of how appropriate it might be to ask questions like these to your boss. But the general idea is to do what you can do to collect the data to help you decipher emotional expressions rather than relying solely on your initial knee-jerk reaction or presumption. And that's it for today's video. I hope you got some insights out of this topic, a little bit regarding emotional intelligence while communicating across different cultures within your workplace. That involves a lot of aspects of diversity and inclusion, because diversity and inclusion is not just about getting to know someone else's ethnicity and asking, from where do you belong, and celebrating their festivals, but it is in these minute details about understanding their culture well and trying to gel up and communicate in their language of emotions. So I hope it was insightful for you and it might help you to better communicate, especially if you are working in a multicultural or multinational work environment. So stay tuned for many more interesting such videos, articles, stories, case studies, models, and my thoughts related to management. I'll see you next week.